Alright, what is going on, guys? It is your boy TKD123 here, back in here on PlayStation Source. And of course, there's a lot going on right now in the world. There's a lot of things happening in terms of DC and the Capitol situation and all that. But I did want to just sit down and take a little bit of a break and just make a video about Spider-Man Miles Morales. And this is not me saying that you should be ignoring those things, not that you should be shutting those things out. Those things are important. We need to pay attention to those when they happen. But this is just going to be a little bit of a breather, and I hope that this will be a breather for you as well. So of course, the friendly neighborhood app in Spider-Man was a great addition to Spider-Man Miles Morales, allowing them to better communicate to the player what side quests and activities are available to be completed. However, in Insomniac fashion, the prequel novel Wings of Fury details how Genki created the app and how it started out very different than the app that we got in the full game. So without further ado, here is the story of the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man app. Like I said before, this story does come from the Wings of Fury prequel novel to the game. This acts as a little story that happens a few months before the beginning of Spider-Man Miles Morales. And for some reason, maybe you're young, maybe you're a kiddo, maybe you can't read, you can of course watch our story recap of the entire main plot of the book. Of course, there's more stuff in the book than that. One of those things is here right now that we are going to talk about, involving the friendly neighborhood app. And so this opens up with Miles Morales waiting at a bus stop, I think, or like on the corner, waiting for Genki to come over, and eventually he does, and this conversation all ensues. Yo, Miles, calls a familiar voice from the haze of white noise outside the audio oasis of my headphones. I spot Genki just across the street, waving me down, his raised arm pulling his Visions Academy issue shirt just high enough to see a bit of his belly underneath. My eyes travel from his face down to his other hand. Looks like he's holding a smartphone with a CB radio jammed into the headphone jack. What the hell is that thing? Yo, I call back, what's with the pager, dude? Genki shakes his head with a knowing smile. You won't be making fun of how it looks once you learn what I can do. I cross the street surrounded on all sides by several other VA students getting off the M train, guess they're from outside Brooklyn too, and step right up for the inevitable demonstration Genki has planned for me. When Genki has a new piece of tech, the world had better watch out. He holds it out to me and I take about 5 seconds to look at it before passing it right back to him with a, yo man, you're going to have to explain this to me. What is it? Well, the top is called a Wi-Fi amplifier. I suck my teeth and wave my hand through the space between us. Man, you know I know what an amplifier does, I laugh. Quit playing, what's the app? It's something new I've been working on, he says, but his dark eyes are twinkling with delight, darting left to right to make sure no one around us is listening. Don't nobody care what a couple of nerds are talking about. They slink on by as if we don't exist. Just a prototype, but... He reaches forward and holds the phone out to me. This is called the Friendly Neighborhood app. That's what you officially named it? I couldn't say all of what I'm thinking, but he couldn't have thought of a less basic name for it. It doesn't even have an acronym. Well, FNA? Again, prototype. Track with me. I haven't even gotten to the cool part yet. Alright man, I'm sorry. What's the cool part? Well, you know how since you got here you've been feeling a little lost, didn't know what you lived next to, couldn't find a place to get fizzies if your turntables depended on it? I nod. That's exactly how I felt, even after walking around Harlem last night. New, confused, lost. Well, this app, he says, scrolling across the screen, has divided East Harlem into a grid, see? With coordinates. You live in E14, my mom lives in F31. If you need to find anything, car mechanic, laundromat, free stuff, or even the best place to get sopapillas, you have the Friendly Neighborhood app. I raise an eyebrow. How do you know you found the best sopapillas in town though? As someone who's half Puerto Rican, I'm a resident expert on how sopapillas should taste. This app would be hard pressed to convince me it knows better than I where to find the best ones. All the restaurant review apps I've seen will dock restaurants with food that has, quote, too much flavor, or restaurants with menus that are, quote, disorganized, or if the kitchen looks, quote, old, like it's falling apart. But those are where you find the best foods. Nana's Pizza in Brooklyn looks like they haven't cleaned their ovens since the 80s, which means you get several decades of flavor in every bite. He smirks up at me and holds up a finger to request patience while he works. He starts typing away at his keyboard for a while. I look up distracted just as a cop siren yelps from behind me. I glance over my shoulder out of reflex at first, expecting to see my dad's grinning face behind the wheel, tipping his hat to me as if to say, get on ahead to class, but my heart sinks at the realization that that's never going to happen again. The driver isn't even looking in my direction. Her eyes are focused on the car in front of her that's being pulled over as it turns the corner at the light. Alright, got it, exclaims Genki, yanking me back into here and now where students are walking past us in all directions, and he's holding out the phone to me. I blink away my memories and focus on what he's explaining to me. See these reviews, he asks. All of them mention the word sopapillas or 53 misspellings of sopapillas in their reviews. Look at all these 5-star ones. He starts scrolling. I see 5 gold stars after 5 more gold stars after 5 more gold stars. You can also search by keywords like flavor, atmosphere, and by positive or negative adjectives like long, wait, terrible, or delicious. Anyway, it's not nearly done, but I'm already proud of it. Looks great, man, I say, and I really mean it. I could have used a little direction last night. Maybe some sopapillas would have done me good, or even a public bench to sit on and just take everything in. You gonna put in there where to get frizzies in Harlem? Ahaha, he says with a wave of his finger in my face. A magician never reveals his secrets, and a contraband carrier never reveals his contracts. I chuckle and roll my eyes with a playful punch to his arm. Well, anyway, fizzies or not, the app sounds cool. Thanks, he says, his smile taking up his whole face. His forehead has gone a little red, probably from excitement. Then I remember something else he said he was working on that I just kinda never heard about again after he told it to me the first time. Or rather, something else I never asked him about again. Maybe I should now. Whatever happened to Speed Nonagon, he beams, remembering it himself. Still working on it, but it takes a while to make a video game. Plus, my time's been split with school and whatever. I feel that. Do I ever? I know all about splitting my time between school and whatever. Whatever meaning swinging through the city, fighting crime, and stopping trouble, but it's the same general idea. So I'm not gonna lie guys, when I read this first thing, when I was first reading the book, I was definitely grinning ear to ear, cannot wait to tell you guys, because I just think it's super cool that Genki developed this app to help Miles be more acclimated to Harlem, while it then becomes the app that helps Spider-Man Miles Morales protect and service the people of Harlem that he now lives with. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great way to, you know, have it clearly where we see the adaptation of like this app that is very detailed. Obviously it was supposed to be like a, you know, super Yelp if you will, but now it's a super Yelp for crime, however you want to describe that. So in case you guys didn't know, because I definitely didn't when I first started reading this book, it's that the whole fizzies thing, it ends up being like a, you know, kind of joke between Genki and Miles, because I guess back in Brooklyn where they used to live, there were tons of places to get fizzies, but I guess in Harlem there isn't. And so I did do some research and I found the closest thing I think that might be what they're talking about. Fizzies are this like powder that you put into water to make it flavored. So there's a cola flavor, orange flavor, grape, root beer, hula punch, etc. So that's essentially what those fizzies were. That's what that whole thing was about. But I love also at the end where they bring up Speed Nonagon. Obviously, if you guys played the game, you know that that was a constant joke in the game as well. Then eventually they end up finishing the game as you finish the game. Whoa, that's a trippy like 2-on-2 thing right there. I didn't realize till just now, but you all know about Speed Nonagon if you guys played the game. But most importantly, down below guys, let me know your thoughts. Did you guys like this whole backstory about the Friendly Neighborhood app? Do you like what it was before and how it turned into the app that helps Spider-Man find crime around the city? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And make sure also while you are down there, you can check out our description where you can find links to our Discord, our Twitter, and our Anchor link. That way you can listen to our long form content and podcast format. Those of course being the Road 2 series and maybe one more new podcast here coming pretty soon. Like the video if you enjoyed it, as well as hit subscribe to PlayStation Source to keep up with the latest and greatest in PlayStation. Thank you all for watching, and as always, greatness awaits.